Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV and welcome to another edition of the Opposition Preview. First things first, guys, make sure you smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, and as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And Chelsea head up to Molineux on Sunday afternoon, looking to get their first Premier League points of the season, but the Blues do not have a good record at Wolves. Haven't won there since Frank Lampard on a 5-2 win in 2019. We do have Pedro Neto in our ranks now, so maybe that will boost our chances, but it hasn't been a happy hunting ground. But to discuss all things the game, Wolves, what Chelsea can expect, I'm delighted to be joined by Dave from Always Wolves Fan TV. Mate, great to have you on board. Wolves this summer, obviously, Pedro Neto's gone, probably as you expected, but so far you've managed to keep hold of Cunha, you managed to keep hold of Hwang, which is obviously big pluses. Kilman went as well. What have you made of the summer so far at Wolves? Obviously, there's still a few days left of the window. Links to Aaron Ramsdale. Are you pleased with the business you've done? I mean, how big a blow is it losing Kilman, Neto, etc.?
I think you judge the transfer window when it closes. We had a very quick start to the transfer window. Signed Tommy Doyle on a permanent from Manchester City. That was great. 4.3. We brought in Pedro Lima, young Brazilian sort of fullback wingback.
They robbed him from us.
That's right, we did. To be honest, I think we did him a favour. No disrespect.
They probably did.
And we brought in Rodrigo Gomez as well from Braga, who's sort of following in the footsteps, same pathway as Pedro Neto, funnily enough. And then we've brought in Jurgen Strand Larsen, Norwegian. Plays with same sort of stable as Haaland, actually. Played a lot with him. Plays in the Norwegian international team with him. We bought him initially with a £3 million loan with an option to buy for, I think, another 20 million next season. He's yet to score in all 6 or 7 games that he's played in pre-season and last week. Very unlucky last week. Great save from a header against Arsenal. He hit the post in the last pre-season game in the USA when we beat RB Leipzig. And other than that, we've done nothing other than a couple of people have gone out on loan. Obviously, you ask about Max Kilman. Max Kilman, right? So Max Kilman, we bought him for £40,000 and we've sold him for 40 million. So that's a good profit. Was our captain last year. Was never really comfortable with Max in a back four, if I'm honest. Of which Gary's playing a back four. Now he's sort of switched from the back five. And Max's family live in London, so it kind of works for everyone. He also wasn't a very vocal captain, so it meant that we could switch the captaincy. And I think it's a massive profit. Pedro Neto, obviously star player, world class, unplayable when he's fit. We've had him for 5. We had Pedro Neto for 5 years. He was only available for 42% of the games that we had him for, and therein lies the issue with Pedro Neto. Brilliant player, great work attitude, and if he's fully fit, fantastic. But he does tend to break down quite a lot. So going to Chelsea, I was a bit surprised he went to Chelsea. I mean, we're grateful for the 54 million, don't get me wrong. But like, Chelsea are literally buying everyone. It's like, I honestly do not know what's going on at Chelsea. Obviously you're Chelsea fans. It just seems that they're just buying everybody, bombing people out. 43 people, building an extension marquee to get everyone training, and I don't really know what Chelsea is anymore, if I'm honest, mate. Disrespect. Obviously, new owners. What do you make of it?
Yeah, look, it's different, of course. You know, it was always going to be different after 20 plus years of Roman. Very unique owner in the footballing world. Things were going to change, and they definitely have changed. The whole club's changed from top to bottom in just over 2 years. You know, there's no one left in the squad other than Reece James that won the Champions League in 2021. So like a whole squad, like from what, just over 3 years ago, has all gone. Recruitment strategies totally changed. And these things are going to take time. There's been a lot.
But what is the recruitment strategy?
Well, I think the recruitment strategy is to sign the best young players from around the world before they become those sort of 60, 70, 80 million pound players. So almost like you're cutting out the middleman per se. And the ones that are good enough, you get them for a reasonable price and it's great. And the others that aren't, in theory, you then sell them on for a profit. The issue is that obviously these guys need to be playing in order for you to actually be able to sell them and make a profit. And I think that's part of the problem that we're sort of coming into, is that when you look to move players on and you're hoping to make a profit, when the majority of these guys haven't been playing, that's going to prove very difficult to do. So I think the plan is kind of, from my point of view, is quite clear. I just think the execution of it has been pretty poor. Although in fairness, some good players have been signed. Palmer, Gusto. I think Madueke is decent. I think Nicholas Jackson's a good guy.
There is no doubt that Chelsea,
there's some good talent there. There's some talent there.
Have a fantastic array of talent. Unbelievable array of talent. I mean, you look across, but like, it's a squad of individuals, isn't it? It's like
at the moment.
Pochettino last year had you purring towards the end of last season. He had you. I think you were one of the form teams at the end of last season. Obviously, he's left. You got the guy from Chelsea, from Leicester, that's come in, and there's quite a few players that have sort of just been cast to the side, haven't they? I mean, like Raheem Sterling, being one of those. Like, he's sort of been. I don't know whether he's allowed to train or the training. You hear all sorts of things. It's just from the outside. I mean, we're as Wolves fans last summer, we were a bit of a laughing stock with everything that was going on with Julian Lopetegui and him going out. He went rogue and talking about not enough money, and obviously we're struggling with the FFP, and everyone had us to go down, and there's a lot of disenfranchisement from the supporters, and it was a little bit embarrassing as a Wolves fan. And I think from everyone sort of like has always looked at Chelsea, but at the moment it feels like no one really knows who Chelsea is from the outside. I hear them talk about it on the thing, and it's interesting. It's like how they're getting away with spending billions of pounds and not getting done by profit and sustainability, and like selling hotels to themselves and things like that. Do you not think that this is something that's going to come home to bite Chelsea ultimately?
I don't think so. The hotels thing is an interesting one. That's actually within the rules. And whatever people think about that, the rules allow that to happen. Now, if other clubs haven't exploited that or taken advantage of it, then
we don't have an hotel to sell.
We have a hotel, but yeah, that one I can understand why other people would look at that and think, well, that's a bit strange, but it's within the rules. So I don't expect any issues to come from that. And in terms of obviously PSR, the club have always maintained that they're compliant. One thing that Chelsea are very good at is selling players. I think over the last sort of 15, 20 years, no club has raised more money through player sales than us. Now, of course, we spent a lot of money, but we do sell it. We do sell very well and bring a lot of money in for players. Obviously, we've got a lot of players to move on. You're not always going to get great fees, but Chelsea are good at selling players, and there does seem to always be suitors for the club for our players. So I'm not concerned that we're not going to comply. I'm not an accountant, but these guys, one thing we probably can trust them with is being good with numbers. So
you had a lot of players on an amortization, didn't you? Over like 7, 8, 9 years. I think the maximum you can do now is 5 years now.
Yeah. So you can still offer 7, 8 year contracts, but you can only amortize over 5 now. Yeah, I think we'll be all right. But ultimately, we need the Champions League football to get that that money in. We need that Champions League football to get a lucrative front of shirt sponsor. We still, for the second season running, are starting the season with no front of shirt sponsor. I can understand why
Chelsea
they're looking.
Haven't got a sponsor on the front of the shirt.
No. For the second season running, we've got no front of shirt sponsor.
Wow.
Because but I understand, you know, you get in the Champions League and you can obviously do more lucrative sponsorship deals. Problem is, we're not in the Champions League. They don't want to sign a long-term deal because you can get more lucrative deals when you're in the Champions League. So they're looking for something short-term.
Do you really
And
think Chelsea are going to push for Champions League this year?
I think we've got the quality. It just obviously
I don't
depends.
think there's any doubt. You've got the
It's the
quality. I think you've got
consistency.
incredible quality.
It's a consistency issue, and it just depends how long it's going to take to understand Enzo Maresca's system and his style of play, and you know how much time he's going to be given to implement that. That's always the big question with Chelsea. But I mean, Dave, in terms of Wolves, obviously, as you mentioned, Gary O'Neil switched to a back four this season.
Yeah.
Would you say that's kind of the? I know it's obviously early days. You've obviously had your pre-season campaign. You've played one game against Arsenal. Would you say that's kind of the main change going from last season to this season, is a switch to a back four?
Well, Wolves have tried to switch to a back four under Bruno Lage. Played some good football and switched back to a back five. Obviously, traditionally, for a long period, we were a back five under Nuno. Had all our big success. Gary O'Neill's clearly wants to play a back four because every single game in pre-season he's played a back four, which is one of the reasons I think Kilman was let go, because you know I just don't think Kilman, he always looked a lot happier when you got a Connor Cody in the middle or a Craig Dawson, a really experienced centre back in the middle of that back three. And obviously he's been let go. I think that's the biggest change. I think it's also the biggest risk and reward, because the idea is it makes us more offensive to score more goals. But I also think, and a lot of people have said, we don't really have any out and out straight fullbacks. The likes of Ryan Ait-Nouri, Nelson Semedo, who's suspended tomorrow, Matt Doherty and all that, they're more like wing backs than fullbacks. So I think it makes us a little bit vulnerable down the sides when they're pushing and bombing forward. We've been trying to play out from the back. We've had Yerson Mosquera that's come back off loan from a very couple of successful seasons at Villarreal in La Liga. He's looked quality since he's come back. We bought him for 4 million. And he's been playing Totti Gomez in the middle alongside him again, who was another guy that went out on loan to Grasshoppers Azura at come back. Young centre backs, both are quick, both are very athletic, both can play a bit, but there is a vulnerability that can be exposed at the back, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, because if you don't get the results, there's going to be a temptation, isn't there, to change back to that back five again. But if you look at Arteta at Arsenal, he had, when he was doing his system, a lot of bad results to start with, and then they started to get to grips with it. Do you hold your nerve? Because our first 9 games are a nightmare. We've obviously had to play Arsenal. We're playing you. We've got Newcastle. We've got City. We've got Liverpool. We've got them all. So it's a really tough start for Wolves. Probably on paper the toughest start for any team. So we might get a lot of defeats. We might get a few beatings. I don't know. But I think the game against Chelsea tomorrow will be a real barometer for where we're at in this style of play with what we've got at the moment.
What are you expecting from this game, Dave? Because obviously, you know, we're both looking for our first points of the season. Wolves generally got a pretty decent home record, certainly against the bigger sides. You've done well.
Our home record recently hasn't been great at all, actually.
It's been all right against the big sides, though, hasn't it? You obviously beat us last season. You beat City, didn't you? You beat Spurs at Molineux.
We did, but that was mainly in 2023. We only lost 4 games at home in 2023. We've lost 6 out of 9 in 2024. Wolves have only won 1 of their last 12 games in all competitions, which was a 2-1 win over Luton in April. So, you know, we did lose a lot of players through injury. So it was a bit difficult. Wolves have also lost 4 successive Premier League games for the first time since a run of 6 in August 2021. So our recent form is not bad. Saying that, Chelsea are without an away win at Wolves, like you say, since that 5-2 victory back
in a long time,
2019. also, interestingly enough, Chelsea have not lost their opening 2 games of a league season since 1973-74. Can you believe that?
They didn't know that. Didn't know that. I mean, there's a first for everything, isn't there? But yeah, I don't feel particularly confident on this one, just because our record's so poor there. The Wolves crowd will always be up for it. You do have a good record against us. I mean, Dave, how do you see this one going? What are you expecting from Wolves? First home game of the season. You expecting a positive performance?
I think we need a positive performance because the pre-season French friendly against Rayo Vallecano Spanish league, we were flat. We'd just come back. We hadn't long come back from the States. So there was probably a bit of a hangover. We weren't very good at all, to be honest. But obviously, it was a friendly. First home game of the season tomorrow. So there's a lot of people who are going to be really looking forward to going to the game. First match back after a bit of a break. We were ready for the season to end. So obviously, there's going to be that excitement of going back to Molineux. Hopefully, the weather will be good. We're playing Chelsea. You know what? I think it's going to be an interesting one to see how it goes because I can see it going either way, really. I do, like you said, both teams really need to get the points. I think Chelsea are going to be desperate to get points on the board. Especially after last week, they'll see Wolves as an opportunity to get points on the board. But I do think Wolves will win the game. So I've gone for a 2-1 victory. I think Strand Larson will probably get his first goal of the season and we'll chip in one from somewhere else. I think we're likely to concede. But Wolves have played some good football in pre-season, and I'm not sure which Wolves team will turn up, but we have got some great players, like you say, the likes of Cunha, Joe Gomez in midfield, Brazilian. Both of them are brilliant, absolutely bosses the midfield. We've got Mario Lemina, who's now the new captain, Wang, Sarabia. We've got Pedro. We've also got Gonçalo Guedes that's back. We've got Rodrigo Gomez. Rodrigo Gomez, he is the new Pedro Neto. So basically, he's Pedro Neto raw, very similar in style to Pedro Neto. He's very enthusiastic. It'll be interesting tomorrow if he has a really good game. And I think it'll be interesting as well to see if Pedro Neto starts that match. I'm not sure he will because he played.
No, I don't think he's going to. Maresca said it's unlikely because obviously he played 60 odd minutes on Thursday night. You're saying he's not played 90 minutes since February, so he's. You know what managers are like. Sometimes they play games, but I generally don't think he.
I think he
he'll
might
be on the
come
bench.
On.
Yeah, he'll come on. Yeah, I'd be surprised if he didn't come on.
Do you know what? He will get a really good reception, Pedro Neto.
Yeah, there's no bad feeling about his departure.
Matheus Nunes, who basically down tools to get a move to Manchester City last year, so he could get splinters in his bum and then break his finger. He got booed every single touch in the first half against Manchester City, the game that we won. It got Gary O'Neill up and running. Honestly, everybody booed him. He was taken off at half time. It just destroyed him. It was quite funny. But like Pedro Neto ain't going to get that sort of reception. He has a good attitude. He never, he probably would still have been happy to stay at Wolves. He's really happy at Wolves. He came over when he was 19. But obviously 54 million for Wolves is a lot of money. I think it's our record transfer going away. And I think most of the Wolves fans are now looking at the transfer window and wanting to see what else we've got coming in because we've got some players coming in, but we've been a bit static since. Obviously, the last week of the window, things start to move around. I mean, I wouldn't mind nicking 1 or 2 Chelsea players, to be honest, that are sort of pushed away and.
Mate, we've got plenty. We've got plenty you can help yourself to.
Well, I know I wouldn't mind a loan with an option to buy or something like that, bringing in a couple because like Chelsea are going to want to move these players on, so there might be a little bit of business that Wolves can do shopping at Chelsea and getting some decent value. But obviously, over the next week, you know what it's like. The transfer window's chaos. I mean, I think you bought in 11 players this summer as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
It's like the money you spent. It's just like.
We haven't spent as much as previous season windows, but yeah, I think we still spent over 200 million pounds. Actually, no, maybe just shy. But yeah,
It
obviously,
looked a lot. But like,
yeah,
you've got the talent, you've got the ability, you've got the individuals. I think the key, obviously, Cole Palmer. I think he's a brilliant player,
yeah.
absolutely fantastic. He's kind of like the talisman for Chelsea, really. Obviously, he was away with the Euros. Maybe he's not fully match sharp. I think it's a good time for Wolves to play Chelsea because they're still in a lot of transition. Your new manager's still getting to grips. It'll be really interesting to see how it pans out. I think Wolves are probably more of a team,
I'd agree. Yeah.
but you've got individual brilliance, and we've got individual brilliance as well at times. But I think it's going to be I think it'll be a real barometer to see where both teams are this weekend. So I'm really looking forward to the game. I know you're going to be there, and I think I'm meeting up with Alex before the game as well, which will be great. And I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, it'll be a really entertaining game, and hopefully, Chelsea go on to have a really positive season. And maybe you will push for that top four.
Mate, let's hope so. I definitely agree. It's going to be an interesting sort of test for where both teams are at. As you said, you've gone for a 2-1 Wolves win. I think, to be perfectly honest, I think it's going to end up being a draw 1-1. But I could easily maybe see us getting a win potentially. I could easily see us losing as well.
The thing is, we don't know, do we?
It's really
kind of
open.
Like I said, either it could go. You just don't really know because it's so early in the season.
There's not much to go off.
No, there isn't.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It should be an enjoyable day anyway, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. But Dave, thanks so much for joining me as always. Great to have you on. If people want to check out what you guys do, where should they go?
Yeah, always Wolves fan TV on everything. We'll be doing. We've got the match vlog. We'll be doing an instant reaction after the game as well, giving our thoughts. I know you do all that sort of stuff as well. So if Chelsea want to hear and see the Wolves reaction after the game, we'll probably one of the best places to go to sort of get that, because literally we get that up within an hour after the game finishes. But yeah, hopefully I'll get to catch up with you tomorrow as well at the match, and I do wish you guys all the best.
No, I appreciate it, mate. Yeah, definitely. Look forward to the game tomorrow. Guys, make sure you check out Always Wolves. Great stuff over there. Please do subscribe. Go and help them out. And yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you again in another one soon.